So welcome to this introductory class that's going to give you a glimpse into the themes that we are exploring in my series on the organ body. So in this 6-part series, we're focusing on the digestive organs. We're focusing on their function, the role that they play in the digestive process, and also the emotional charge of each organ. So what's been really interesting for me in my journey with yoga is that there is definitely a process as we begin and we go deeper into this practice of moving from the more gross level to the more subtle levels. So at the beginning of our yoga journey, very often we're dealing with the muscular skeletal body, learning how to open, how to free ourselves, how to release tension. And that obviously has an impact on the mind and the emotions and the breath and the nervous system. But we can still continue to go deeper. And there's a way of us accessing and working with the organ body through our practice. And this has become very interesting for me of late. And so that's why I'm bringing you this course right now, which I really hope you'll join us in this exploration. The digestive system obviously has a super important role in the vitality of the body. And it's not just about assimilating and digesting nutrients. It also symbolically, the digestive system represents our ability to digest all of life's experiences. So if there is a stagnation, a sluggishness, a dullness in the way that we digest and assimilate life's experiences, that has an effect on how we interact with life. Just as we can be over consume, right? In terms of food, we can also over consume in terms of experiences. Just as we can be greedy with food, we can also be greedy with life's experiences. But then what happens is that the body, the brain, the emotions, the spirit isn't able to properly assimilate and process everything that's coming in. And so there's a kind of overload of experience and overload of activity in the body. So we're going to be exploring some of these themes throughout this course. And obviously there are some key words that we associate with the digestive system. We're going to be exploring those as well in our practice, in our physical practice. So just to share a few of those with you, words that we think of when we think of the digestive system. So absorption, right? There's obviously an absorption happening. There's a breaking down of different elements. Assimilation, elimination, an integration of experiences. The metabolic system as well, okay, our metabolism, how we metabolize experiences. And then also there are words like constipation that we associate with the digestive system, but we can also be constipated emotionally, right? There can also be this kind of stagnation emotionally or mentally. There can be a putrefaction, a fermentation happening in the gut. And we can also translate that into our experience of life. There can be toxicity. There can be coldness or warmth, greed, control, nourishment. So all of these words are very interesting when we start to look at the wider meaning of them and how they relate to the digestive system and how they relate to all our experiences in life. So please join me in this practice today as we kind of start to begin to explore some of these ideas together. And I hope to give you an idea about what you can hope to experience in the 6-part series, The Organ Body. So let's begin. I'm going to suggest for this practice, if you have equipment at home, I'm going to suggest that you grab 2 cork blocks, a blanket, a kind of foam block like this, and a belt. Okay, if you don't have anything at all at home, then make sure that at least you have a blanket, okay, for you to sit on, and some kind of belt. Could be your jean, you know, the belt that you use for your jeans, or a strap, anything like that. Okay, it's always useful to have some yoga equipment to support us, so that it's not so challenging, and so that we can really listen to the body's needs if we need a little bit of extra height or support. All right, come to sitting. So take a blanket or a block under your buttocks, roll the flesh of the calf muscles out, and see that your knees are aligned and resting on top of the feet. Okay, separate the buttocks, bring your fingertips by the sides of the hips, pressing them down onto the floor, roll the shoulders back. Breathe here for a moment, just let your gaze settle in front of you. Rolling the shoulders back, create some space in the chest. Deepening your inhalation and deepening your exhalation. And close the eyes. As you breathe here, observing where the breath is, where the breath lands in the body. Feeling your weight balanced over your sitting bones. And lengthening up through the spine, through the neck, that vertical ascension reaching the crown. Keeping that lift in the chest and the length in the abdomen, bring the palms together, and we'll open the session chanting the Om 3 times. Take a deep breath. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling, bowing the head towards the hands and releasing the hands down onto the thighs. And then slowly opening the eyes and raising the head up. All right, let's begin by lying down. So you can take a blanket to support your head. Just going to come and lie on the back body. See that you have enough space at the head and at the foot level so that you can extend the body. So we won't do that now, but eventually we are going to lengthen out on the floor. So just come to a comfortable lying position. The knees can be bent and the feet flat on the floor. And we're just going to bring our hands onto our lower belly. So the first thing we're going to do is actually connect with the breath that moves in the lower belly, in the abdominal region. In the yoga tradition, we speak about different winds or different pranas, different energies that move in different parts of the body. So down here in the lowermost part of the body, we have what's called apana vayu, which is the breath that controls our elimination processes. So it's controlling the kind of lower digestive organs, the intestines. helping the body to release anything that it's been holding on to. So with your hands lightly placed here, you're going to guide your breath down into the pelvic region, down into the belly. And you'll notice an expansion and contraction of the belly as you do that. The belly will rise and fall as you direct your breath down towards the pelvis, the pelvic floor, lower belly, that whole area beginning to wake up. So by paying attention to a certain space, a certain area of the body, we suddenly bring life to it. We suddenly become more conscious of what's going on there. Keeping your attention in that space, you're going to release your hands, extending the arms over the head, interlacing the thumbs, and drawing the shoulders back, lengthening the arms above the head. And now see what happens to your breath. Where does your breath go? Can you lengthen the abdominal region, creating space for the organs? The navel region lengthening, the skin on the navel lengthening, extending. And now extending your legs out. So lengthening the body in two directions. The legs dragging the lower body out to one side, and the arms dragging the upper body in the opposite direction. Breathe here. See where your breath goes. We're wanting to start to create space in the abdominal region. Space so the digestive organs can be revitalized. Focus all your attention on the right side body, lengthening the right leg and the right arm at the same time, dragging them in opposing directions. Lengthen that whole right side of your stomach, right side of your chest. Feel the skin lengthening, and then change other side, left side. Left leg lengthens, left arm lengthens. Left side of the belly, abdomen. Breathe here, charging the left side body. Good, and now change once again on the right side. Breathe. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Left side. Breathe. Good. Coming back to center, release your arms by your side. Just rearrange your head in the center if anything's shifted. And bend the right knee up to your chest. So left leg is still lengthened out on the floor. Squeeze the right knee in. Stretch the left leg out. And then with your right hand, you're going to roll that right leg over to the right to open the pelvic region. So there's a kind of rolling action that happens in the hip. And we open that right side of the hip, right side of the pelvic region out to the right, knees bent. And then we roll it back into center. And you clasp the knee with both hands once again, squeezing it in. Charge the left leg. Okay, so we're going to repeat that action. Right hand catches, cups the right knee, rolling the right knee out to the side. The knee can stay bent. Opening the pelvic region. And then rolling back to center. Squeeze the knee in. Breathe. So we're working on opening up these portals, these joints. Right side once again. Rolling in that right hip area. Notice if you feel any kind of clunkiness, any sense of tension or rigidity. And what we're going to do now is actually going to bring that knee over and across the body. You're going to catch the outside edge of the knee with your left hand and roll that knee over to the left. Okay, if you're near a wall and you get stuck, like I did, just move yourself slightly further away so the knee can fully cross the body. Take your right arm out to the side. Charge your left leg is extending. And breathe into this whole right side of the body. The liver, right side of the waist. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Breathe into the belly. Rolling the right shoulder back, extending into that right arm. And then come back to center. Good. Let's change other side, okay? So the right leg extends out, the left leg draws in. Charging the right leg, be on the center of the heel bone, center of the calf muscle. Squeezing the right knee well in towards the chest. Take the knee in the left hand and you're going to roll it out to the left now to open up the left side, hip, pelvic region. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling, coming back to center, squeezing that knee into center, and then rolling it out again to the left. So we're looking for fluid, smooth movements, removing any kind of clunkiness. And then back to center. Breathe, squeeze in last time. And rolling the hip, the leg out to the left. Charge your right leg once more. Breathing here. And now we're going to bring the knee back to center, crossing the knee over the body, cup the left knee with the right hand and draw it over to the right, extending your left arm out on the floor behind you. Charge the right leg and breathe. Breathe into the whole left side of the body. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. We're slowly waking up the intelligence. Slowly waking up these areas that have remained dull or lifeless, and coming back to center. Good. Just rearrange yourself in your mat. If you've shifted out of center, come back to center and bring your knees right up to the chest, so hugging the knees up to the chest. So we're going to become a bit more active now, a bit more dynamic in the work. The arms are going to extend out to both sides, and you're going to let the legs go to the right side and the left side. So as we descend the legs to the right, you're going to exhale, and then inhale, bring them back to center, and exhale to the left. Okay? So keeping the knees high up towards the chest. Go in your own time. The arms remain lengthened on the floor, and they're controlling the body, controlling the ascent and descent of the legs. You're going to notice that the abdominal muscles become activated as we go from one side to the other, rinsing out, wringing out the digestive system. Keep going. Breathe. So really trying to activate this digestive fire, Agni, that's going to burn all the toxicity, that's going to eliminate the dross, the waste products. So we want this to happen on all levels of our being. The psychological level, getting rid of any psychological toxicity, any emotional toxicity, any putrefaction, any emotions that are fermenting in the heart, any parasites. Okay, think of all of these words symbolically too, what they mean on all the different levels. That's it, keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Coming back to center. Good. Squeeze the knees in, hug the knees in. Take a moment here, breathe. So many times we consume food from the perspective of the senses, no? It's a sensorial experience, a sensory experience, not necessarily a medicinal experience, but we eat with our eyes. We consume with our eyes. And this is not always the most nourishing way to consume. It's not always the most medicinal way. We have to think about how are we consuming life, and is it medicinal? Is it therapeutic? Are we healing ourselves through our experiences? Or are we creating more rubbish and overload? Let's take the legs straight up, okay? So if you're not in the center of your mat like me, come back to the center. Take the hands by your hips, hands on the floor, stretch the legs up. So depending on your flexibility, this is going to be harder for some of us than others. What you'll notice at some point is that the abdominal muscles will become engaged, okay? So if you're very flexible and you want to bring the legs further towards you, you'll start to notice that the abdominal region becomes engaged. For others, you might be here, or you might even be with your legs bent, and already you're noticing that the abdominal region is working. So creating this heat, this fire, that's important for our digestive processes. But obviously with fire, we have to be careful. We don't want to get burned. Yeah, so it's always a balance. Creating enough heat, but not too much. So with the legs well extended as best you can, we're going to keep the left leg where it is. Hands are by your side, pressing down on the floor, and you're going to lengthen the right leg. It's just going to touch the floor like a little kiss with the heel, and then you come back up. Left leg. Briefly kissing the floor with your heel, coming back up. Let's repeat like this. Right leg and left leg. Controlling the ascent and the descent. And watching what's happening in the abdominal region. How is your abdominal region engaged? How are you controlling what's happening there? How is the breath? Where are you breathing? How are you breathing? What are the qualities of your breath? It's all about paying attention, practicing the art of paying attention with whatever we're doing. And gradually this skill, this siddhi, we would say in yoga, it's like a superpower. It becomes stronger and stronger so that we can develop our awareness and distribute it beyond the body, beyond the mind, into the energetic realms. Good. One more time each side. Well done. And then bending the knees. I'm going to interlace the hands behind the head. Just untuck. If the shoulder blades are sort of stuck on the floor, just untuck them there for a moment. And raising the head. If this is okay for your neck, then you can support your neck here. If it's really not okay, bring the head back down to the floor. We're going to be cycling the legs. So you're just going to be kicking out one leg, bringing it back, and then the other. Okay? So go in your own time. And I want you to imagine that this is like a kind of steam engine, that you're pumping the fire, pumping the steam through the body. Use your breath. Like a steam engine, powering this force through the body, activating the blood, transforming the blood in these alchemical processes. Keep going. Generating that heat without burning yourself. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Good. Come back to center. Release the legs. Breathe. Deep inhalation, deep exhalation. Bring your hand back to your belly. Take the breath to the belly. Listen to the heartbeat. Coming back to your center. Very good. Okay, let's roll over to the side. Remove your blanket, but keep it to the side. So we're going to be using it in a minute. Just keep it handy. We're going to prepare for dog pose. Okay, so come onto all fours. Take a moment to measure the distance between your hands and feet. So we can do this by sitting on our heels. So the heels are together, toes are together, knees are apart. Stretch your arms forward as far forward as they'll go and keep creeping the hands forwards, lengthening the side body. Take a moment here. This is an active Adho Mukha Virasana. Pressing your palms on the floor. The hands should be towards the edges of the mat. So give your shoulders enough space there. Roll the shoulders back. Rolling the shoulders, widening the collarbones. Come up onto all fours without adjusting any of the distances here. Turn your toes under and come up in dog pose. Okay, so this is one way that we can measure the distance between the hands and the feet. So I'm starting with the knees slightly bent, and you'll notice that the weight of the body tends to hang over the hands. So bring the weight back, move your head through the window of your arms. Bring the weight back, lengthening, extending through the chest, through the spine. The knees can be slightly bent and the heels raised. And release the belly. Working and focusing on the extension of the arms in order to lengthen the side body, the chest, to create space.
And what you'll notice here is that we're almost turning the body upside down. So the digestive organs are going to start releasing out of their habitual spaces. They're going to start shifting and moving internally. So I want you to relax your belly. Relax the belly here. Allow the digestive organs to sink towards the diaphragm, to be extended and lengthened. So rather than them being weighed down towards the pelvic region, they're starting to go in different directions. Relax the head and continue to work on mobilizing the shoulders, creating more space in the shoulders so that your head can release further and further down. Good, and release, come down. Just rest for a moment. Placing the feet together, knees apart. Adho Mukha Virasana. Soften here. Breathing into the band at the back of your body, back of your waist, sacrum region. Here we find the kidneys in that central part of the back body. Kidneys which have to do with cleansing the blood, ridding the body of toxins. All right, let's come up once again. Measuring your distance, stretch the arms as far forwards as they'll go. Activate the extension of the arms. So here, when you don't have any of that weight on your hands, here you can really take advantage of this extension and teach your body how to lengthen the arms, the elbows, the skin. Now come up onto all fours, turn the toes under, lift the pelvis as high as possible. Start moving the weight back, lengthening, bringing space. And those of you that are ready can start to straighten the legs, straighten the knees here. If your body isn't ready for that, then just do as we did before with the knees slightly bent. And if you want to go a little further, you're stretching the heels towards the floor. So now the legs are lengthening the tailbone, pelvic region towards the heels. And the arms are lengthening the upper region of the body. Deeply inhaling and deeply exhaling. Breathe. Looking forwards, preparing your right leg to lunge the right leg forwards. So that's it, a big step forwards. Now you can come down onto your knee here, or if that's problematic, then you take a blanket to support your knee, okay? So any knee problems, any knee sensitivity, take a blanket here. Come up, hands on the hips. So we're going to be lengthening the arms up here to stretch the navel region. So interlace your thumbs, stretch the arms up, roll the shoulders back, and see, can you get a length on the front body by dragging your arms up? Can you lengthen the front body? Can you stretch the navel, the skin on the navel? And if you have your balance, you can even take that back knee off the floor. Breathe, roll the shoulders back, armpit, chest open. So creating space for the digestive organs, length, extension. Good. Release, come down, back knee goes down. We're going to come into a twist. So you're going to bring the elbow over onto the outside edge of the knee. Hook the elbow there, bring your palms together and turn. The knee resists the elbow resists the knee, and move with this resistance, mobilizing the thoracic chest, the waist.
Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. So giving the body time to metabolize the experience, to assimilate. Very good. Okay, coming back down. Now here's where you're going to take your blocks, if you have them, okay? We're going to push our weight back onto the back leg, okay? So you can take as much height as you like. We're going to come into Parsvottanasana. So we're coming up, where you're just going to hop that back foot in very slightly, and as best you can, bring the heel to the floor. So this back leg is going to anchor us. Now, right leg, you're going to feel a strong extension on the back of the leg, so you need to control that. If it's possible to straighten the leg, then work to straighten it. And otherwise, you can just bend and straighten until you ease into that extension. If you have blocks, you're going to take a height that's appropriate so that the back can be flat. Another option here is to take your hands onto a small stool or a chair. So just working, if it's first thing in the morning, you know, your legs might need a bit of time to warm up. Once you feel that part of the body has received and accepted this invitation, then work to draw the knee up, draw the thigh up, anchor your back heel down, lengthen the trunk forwards, deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Becoming present with the experience, breaking it down, absorbing the sensations, the nourishment, and removing anything that stands in the way. If the hips feel blocked, rigid, do what you can to make those adjustments. Good. Okay, so to come out of the pose, we just shift our blocks to the side. We bring our hands back down to the floor. This right knee is bent, and I'm going to lunge it back to dog pose. All right, so that's the sequence. Take a moment here in Adho Mukha Svanasana to reset. And then you're looking forwards, preparing the left leg. You're going to lunge that left leg forwards. So look where you're going, lunge it forwards, bring it as far forwards as you can towards your hands, and then come down onto the back knee. Hands on the hips. So we're here once again. It's always a nice feeling of coming down to earth. So allow the body to connect with the earth before you take the arms up. Interlacing the thumbs, draw the arms up. So now we're really creating that duality, so there's an extension going upwards, and there's also a sinking down in the pelvic region. Breathe. Front of the body, focus on your navel. How can you get more length, more extension on the navel? Those of you that are ready to come up, straighten that back leg. Breathing here, create stability. Deepening the inhalation and the exhalation, and then release, come down. Coming into the rotation, hook your right elbow to the outside edge of the knee, bring your palms together, turning the waist, turning the chest. So the rotations really give us a nice opportunity to wring out the digestive organs like we would wring out a dirty cloth. Rinsing, releasing any dross, any waste. Deepening the rotation. And then release, come back to center. Okay, gather your tools, gather your equipment, whatever you have to hand. Come up,
Shift the weight backwards towards that back foot. You're hopping in slightly. You're slightly closing the stance. And then you see, is it possible to straighten this left leg? If you don't have any equipment to hand and you're working without support, your hands are on the floor, okay? And maybe today it's not possible to straighten that left leg, but you can work on straightening the back leg. Maybe it's possible to be on the floor here, straighten both legs, lengthen out, and just deepening the extension of that front leg. Breathe. Metabolizing, assimilating, integrating the experience without overdoing, without consuming too much. So there's an invitation, and then how do we receive the invitation? What's our response? Good. Bring hands down to the floor, hopping back to dog pose. You can remove the blanket now. Your fullest expression of dog pose. Finding those parallel lines, finding that symmetry. Relax the belly, belly soft, loose. The abdominal organs are almost sucking up towards the diaphragm. In the hollow that the chest makes, allow your abdominal organs to be drawn up towards the chest, leaving their habitual homes, stepping out of their comfort zone and venturing beyond the normal confines of their habitual spaces. Good, walk forwards. Uttanasana. Take the feet as wide as the mat, catch the elbows, crossing the arms, and release the head down. Here, if there's tightness in the hamstrings, you can also be with the knees very slightly bent, and that way it allows the spine to completely release. So it's another kind of half inversion, yes? The legs are soaring upwards, but the trunk is releasing down. So again, the abdominal organs can leave their homes and find new space. Let the head and neck hang like a weight off of the spine. Balance your weight over the arches of the feet. And watch the evolution of the work. Watch the evolution of the posture, the opening of the surrender. If there are those of you who'd like to go a little deeper, you can catch the ankle region, bending the elbows out wide. And you're not just drawing yourself down, you're also widening the chest as you go down. So we're creating length and width. So widen the collarbones as you draw the spine further and further down. Relax the face completely. And then hands on the hips, inhale and come up. Just bring your hands to your belly for a moment. Feeling the expansion and contraction. Softening a kind of tenderness there with how you are holding that space. The digestive system does so much work for us.
There is so much intelligence there to be appreciated and honored. Okay, let's continue with that tenderness. No, so we always have to be careful that we are not working aggressively in the postures. So you're going to bring your mat closer to the wall, okay, so the mat is touching the wall. If you have your blocks, place them in front of you. If you don't have blocks, you can take a small chair or a stool, okay. What we're going to do is we're going to lift our left heel onto the skirting board, okay, and if you don't have a skirting board, then just lift it slightly higher up the wall. Turn your body so that the hips are facing the right leg, and we're a similar distance, the legs are a similar distance apart to before. We're drawing up through the right leg, so it's very similar to what we did before, we've just got a bit more support with the wall there, and you're coming forwards onto your support, so take whatever you need. Now what the wall does is it gives us a sense of stability, so push your heel back into the wall. And as you push your heel into the wall, lengthen your chest forwards. Breathe here. You can work with the knee, right knee slightly bent if it's really too strong for you. Those of you that have been practicing for longer, try to straighten that right leg. We're going to come into Parivrita Trikonasana, so this is the rotation. I'm not so concerned about the legs. I want you to focus more on the trunk and the chest. So if you need to bend that right knee, do so, okay? But let's not get too worried about what the legs are doing. Now, you have to choose the right height for your hands. We're going to bring this right hand closer towards the inside of the foot, and you're turning to the right. So the right leg is forwards, and you're turning across that right leg. Rotating, hand is on the sacrum. Left arm is vertical. Roll the shoulders back. And those of you that have your balance can take that right arm up and finish that vertical line of the arms. Head and neck are long. Turn the waist, turn the chest. This whole back body has to initiate the rotation. If you're struggling to get that, bend the right knee and move this whole region further and further around. Breathe here. Right fingertips soaring upwards, and then release the hand to your support. Step the left leg forwards and come up. Okay, so let's repeat. Right leg back, left leg forwards. Find your center. Charge that right leg, so the right leg is like an anchor, anchored to the wall, so as you come forwards you don't lose contact. Keep that right leg anchored, anchored, anchored. Bring your hand to your support. Pajvottanasana. So this is phase 1. Deciding whether you're going to work with the knee slightly bent or not, in accordance with what's right for your body right now. Bring your right hand a little closer to the inside edge of the right foot. You can see that there. I just moved my block closer in. If you don't have a block, hand to the floor. Left hand to the sacrum. Take a moment here. So what we're wanting to do is mobilize this whole abdominal region. Yes? The rotations really help us to wring out the digestive organs, and then those of you that have your balance can raise that left arm up. Breathe. Deep inhalation, deep exhalation, breathing into the pit of the belly. Squeeze the exhalation out. Continuing that purification process. Legs are steady. Good. And then release. Come down and step the legs forwards. Inhale and come up. All right, let's repeat once again. The key is in the repetition. All right. So the role of the left leg is to stabilize. The right leg, there's a strong extension, a strong upwards movement as we fold forwards, keeping the hips and the pelvic region centered. Take the support that's appropriate for you. I'm going to show you now without support so that you can see how it's going to look without support. Take a moment here to center the pelvic region. And then you have the option to once again bring your hand to the inside edge of the right foot, or you can come to the full pose, which is bringing the hand over onto the outside edge of the right foot. So this is the full rotation. Parivrita Trikonasana. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling, finding your center, finding your balance. And those of you that are bringing the right arm up, make that final gesture, breathing, moving from the back body to rotate the waist, the chest, the belly, and then release. Come down, step forwards, and come up. And change, last time. Breathe. Deeply inhale. Deeply exhale. Center yourself. Prepare. Slowly breaking down this work. Just as we break down our food, breaking down the yoga poses, the postures, so that they are more digestible. So coming to this first stage, with or without equipment. Those of you that are working with the hand on the inside of the foot, take up your position. And those of you that want to go for the full pose, take the hand on the outside edge. You can also bring the hand flat to the floor is another option, okay? You just need to make sure that you can still get that lift and that turn. Expansion and contraction in the belly, squeezing the digestive organs, contracting the digestive organs as you exhale. And then release. Come down. Stepping forwards, come into Uttanasana once again. Take the feet apart. They don't have to be as wide as the mat. They can be as wide as your hips. Take the feet apart, catch the elbows, head down. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Let the whole upper body release. Okay, so let the whole upper body hang like a weight. And then hands on the hips, inhale and come up. Good, okay, let's come down. We're going to finish the practice with a couple of seated postures. So I'm going to suggest that you stay close to the wall, okay? I'll show you from this angle. And you can take a blanket to sit on, or you can take a block. And you want to make sure that the blanket is slightly, there's probably about 1.5 foot gap between the blanket and the wall, okay? Coming to cross legs once again. We're going to be turning, and I want you to use the wall to turn. So I want you to use your fingertips there pressed against the wall as a kind of fulcrum to turn. So before we do that, just make sure that you're comfortable. Take the flesh of the buttocks out to the side.
Find your center, find that center line. And then we're going to be taking the left hand to the outside edge of the right knee, right fingertips on the wall, and you're turning. And what you want to make sure is that you're not shifting the legs or the position of the hips. Okay, so keep that all stable as you turn. I actually need to come a little bit further away because I'm a bit trapped there. It's better. So by working at the wall, we have a real sense of stability, but it's also a reference point for us. So in this case, I can feel whether I'm leaning towards the wall or leaning away from it. And I'm going to find my center here, rolling the right shoulder back and creating a lot of space on this right side chest, right side waist. So notice how the rotation gets carried through from the right side to the back of the body and round to the back of the left chest. Keep the collarbones wide, the head lifted, and notice where you're breathing, where is your breath. And then come back to center. Good, let's go to the other side. So the right hand comes to the outside edge of the knee, left hand on the wall, cupped fingers on the wall. Turn the waist, turn the chest. Relax the legs. See that you're not leaning forwards or backwards. Observing how the rotation starts strongly on this left side and gets carried around the back body, moving to the back of the right chest. Watch your breath, watch your breathing as you slowly ingest the nourishment, the medicine of this work. Good, coming back to center. We're going to repeat, okay? So change the cross of your legs. Let's see if we can reach some more subtle layers. So let's go once again to the right. And I'm going to encourage you this time to bring your breath down into the belly, letting the belly expand on the inhalation and drawing the navel in on the exhalation. So there's a very slight change to our breath where we're willfully guiding the breath in a certain way. And as you expel the breath on the exhalation, drawing the navel in, I want you to see if you can deepen the rotation. Turning the head and neck. Creating change on the muscular, skeletal, and organ level of the body. And come back to center. Good, to the left. Breathing down into the pit of the belly. Expansion, contraction. Turning the head and neck.
And then release and come back to center. Very good. All right, we're going to change our position once more. You're going to place your blanket or your block, whatever you're working with, to one side of your mat. And we're going to come and sit in Dandasana. So have a belt handy, okay? You've got a little bit of height here for the buttocks. Take the flesh of the buttocks out to the side. Grab your belt or your strap and bend the right knee out to the side, Janu Shirshasana. So as we bend the knee out to the side, roll the flesh of the calf muscle, let the foot come close in towards the groin. And if the knee is floating in the air, you can take a little bit of support underneath it, okay? You can take a block or a blanket. We're going to turn, first of all, towards the bent knee. So we're going to bring the fingertips behind us. The left hand presses on the inside of the knee. So this is a really nice wide open turn. Rolling the shoulders back, charging that left leg, and feeling what it's like to have all this space, because soon we're not going to have all this space. So I want you to take this experience into the memory of your body, the space that you have in the solar plexus, space that you have in the chest, because we're going to take this through into the next posture and try and recreate this space. Good. So keeping that left leg charged, what we're going to do now is we're going to cross over the outside edge of the leg. So you may need a belt here. You may need to catch the foot with the belt and then catch both cords with your right hand, and your left fingertips are going on the floor. So we're now actually twisting beyond the leg, beyond the left leg. Those of you that have been practicing for a bit longer can probably catch the outside edge of the foot. The foot pushes into the hand drags the foot back towards the body, and like that we create the rotation. Left hand is on the floor, fingertips are cupped on the floor, just to support you. And we're mobilizing the waist, the trunk, the spine. Relax the right leg and see where the breath is. How can you mobilize the breath to initiate a purification on the level of the digestive organs? Watching, waiting. And release. Good. Let's change other side. So right leg extends, left leg bends out to the side, roll the flesh of the calf muscle out and bring that foot close in towards the groin. So you're going to see my back body now as I bring the right hand to the inside edge of the knee, left fingertips on the floor behind me. Wide opening, wide rotation. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Take this into the memory of your body. And taking this memory with you, we release out of the pose. If you're using a belt, you take your belt, you catch the foot with your left hand or the belt, right? And we're turning across that leg. So my right fingertips are cupped on the floor to support the lift. Breathing. Deeply inhaling, deeply exhaling. Work on generating more space in the spine, the chest. And then release. Very good. Okay, we're going to come towards the end of the class now. So have your blanket handy still for supporting your head. Make sure that you've got enough room to stretch out on the floor. We're going to come to cross legs, Supta Sukhasana, before we come into Shavasana. So you're going to come and lie down on your back, supporting the head and neck on your blanket. And we're just going to cross our legs here, okay, in this pose. So it's simple cross legs. And what this does is it gives a nice opening to the lower belly, pelvic region. You want to see that your knees can just soften and relax, and that the pelvic region can soften, become heavy on the floor. See that the head is in the center. And once again, we'll bring our hands onto our lower belly. And without doing anything, without making any changes to the breath, just observe where the breath is moving. Relax the face, relax the jaw. And then change the cross of the legs. And settling into the pose once more. Good, and then slowly bending the knees back to center. Just interlacing the hands behind the head, lift the head up. And as you stretch the legs out on the floor, see that you are centered, that the legs are parallel. Allow them to release down, releasing the head and neck, untucking the shoulders, the shoulder blades, and the palms turn upwards towards the ceiling. Settle down into Shavasana, integrating the practice, integrating all the information, relaxing around the eyes and the jaw and the throat. calm breath, calm mind, allowing all this information to be integrated into the body, into the cells. Allowing the digestive organs to settle back into their habitual spaces and places, but they return renewed and refreshed and revitalized from the practice. When you're ready, taking a deeper inhalation and a deeper exhalation, folding your hands on top of the chest to start returning from Shavasana, bending the knees one by one, placing the feet flat on the floor, rolling over to the right hand side, and just very slowly pushing yourself back to a comfortable seated position, maintaining this quiet attitude. Bring the palms together. And closing the eyes, we'll just take some moments to give thanks. Thanking the intelligence of the body, accepting whatever process the body is in right now, and sending it complete unconditional love. And we'll slowly return by bowing the head forwards, opening the eyes, releasing the hands, and raising the head. Thank you. Namaste.